All right. Uh, so Shadow Scout, he left it up to us to come up with some CIS for you guys today. I'm Master Mud,
I'm
and
Emperor Atlantis.
yep, and we've been in the CIS chat helping out you guys with list building and stuff, and we just thought we'd get together and make a video for you guys talking about what's good, what's bad, what's not bad, what people are sleeping on, and just kind of maybe talk about a little bit later about maybe what how crab droids might upset our meta a little bit here, shake things up, and then maybe
hmm
we can at the end speculate aqua droids a little bit. I think that
Yeah,
could be fun.
that's a good idea. Yeah.
All right, all right, man. I'll let you you can start us off because I know you had a little bit of a few things you had prepared you wanted to talk about,
Um,
particularly.
well, yeah, yeah. Well, I was thinking about what units are good right now and what units are like sleeper good, like just
Mm-hmm.
around the corner, being meta. I talked about it last time with Shadow Scout in an early episode too, but
Yeah,
then that was the beginning of 2.6, and now we're
yeah, in the middle of
well
it
ahead
now.
into yeah. Um, And the first unit that I want to address, and I think nobody would disagree with me that Magnas are still like top dog unit.
Oh yeah, Magnas are
They're so
still top
efficient.
dog
Yeah, BX Commandos did well. They do see a lot of play with EXT droids, of course,
for
but
sure.
if they fall out of favor because rules change or maybe some stricter building restrictions,
Mm-hmm.
um, yeah, I mean, PX commandos are good. Scout, especially the way you can catapult them on the field. Um, but if it comes down to it, they're glass cannons and have a lot of white dice. And Magnus are just reliable black dice, tanky.
Two health
Um,
apiece.
yeah,
Yeah,
they're
no.
so good.
Yeah,
Eight
no, because
health.
I went to a local and I brought BXs, and man, my
Mhm.
BXs, as soon as they started taking wounds, they started dropping like flies. Meanwhile, there was a guy who he usually goes to the tournaments. He wasn't at that last one, but he's been running quad Magna Guards with Grievous, and those things gave my ARC troopers a run for my money when I was playing against him 501st with the old rules. Like it came
Mhm.
down to a dice roll. I might not even have won that game if it wasn't for a range 5 arc shot into a B1. But no, those Magna Guards, they put in the work. So we'll
Yeah,
definitely those are definitely top dog right now.
yeah. That's my same experience too. That BXs, once they start to drop, their offensive capabilities just
Yeah.
are just so much less. Every model is dice gone, while Magna Guards
Mm-hmm.
can still like take one or
Exactly.
take them per two. It makes so much difference.
Yeah,
I
no, for
totally get it.
sure. But like, and just kind of go off more on that. It's like it'd be like one thing if they're like the snipers weren't as expensive as they are, but the sniper rifle's 40 points. The base cost
hmm
is 64 points. You're already a 104 point unit
Yeah,
with just one upgrade,
yeah,
and you really want those shields if you're not going into melee. So that's another 18 points. And like you were saying, the white dice are unreliable, even on their surging hit. But if you start losing models, that white dice go from hitting maybe 4 times to hitting 1, 2 times with just like 2 models dead, you know?
yeah.
So
Yeah,
I've
I had that in my
definitely.
last tournament in XD. I've had 2 units, of course,
Mm-hmm.
and even though I had fibro swords, I did shoot a lot with them.
Mm-hmm.
And some rolls I had like 3 hits, even with an aim, you just re-roll bad.
Yeah.
Still 75% chance that you miss on each die each time you roll.
Mm-hmm.
And I had one shot, I had like 10 hits. Like it's so swingy.
Yeah. Sometimes you can just hit everything, and then sometimes you're just like, well, I hit nothing.
Yeah, it doesn't feel good. But it's also with the fibros. I mean, those red
Yeah.
dice sometimes just. fizzle out. You don't have any aim support. That's so great about Magnus. They have that retinue thing that still works the same,
Exactly.
right?
You know, retinue still works the same. Yeah, you get an aim or a dodge at the
Yeah.
start of your turn or at start of your activation phase, as long
Yeah.
as you are within range 1 to 2 of a commander. So like,
Yeah.
just
And that
getting
makes so much difference.
it makes such a difference, especially in the 2 health. It's the 2 health and the retinue, just makes
Yeah.
such a difference, man. But yeah,
Do you feel that the rocket is still worth it, even at the high points in the new meta?
the Magna Guard one.
Yeah, the RPS one over like
Um,
whip or extra guy.
I honestly just think you just go for the extra man because with how close quarters everything is nowadays, like you really just either want that extra 2 wounds and an extra 2 black dice, or using the whip, which can give you an extra 2 red, and you at least have the versatility of maybe giving some immobilized tokens out there. Like especially like with how prevalent Anakin is on the field right now.
Yeah.
Just trying to minimize his movement and minimizing enemy force users' movements. Like Luke Skywalker, Jedi Knight has disengage, but he can't disengage if he's only going to be able to go 1 speed away if he has an immobilized token on him. And
Yeah.
I don't, correct me if I'm wrong, but doesn't immobilize, it makes it so if you are taking just a normal disengage action, you can't move away, can't you? Because it reduces you to a speed 1 move away, right?
Yeah, I believe that works like that. Immobilized tokens don't work on speed moves that you get from effects. Like I don't believe it stops Anakin's tempted.
No, it wouldn't stop
But
that.
I do believe, but normal moves it stops, and disengage is still a normal move, right?
I think it is still a normal. Oh, no, regular disengage, like from Luke Skywalker's thing. That is a regular move. It just allows you to basically leave melee combat if you only have like one other enemy engaged with you or something like that.
Yeah.
But yeah, no.
Even if they disengage, the immobilized token still stops you after that.
Yeah.
For the second one.
So exactly. Like instead of doing, yeah, you're doing a speed 3 move instead of doing 2, like a speed 1 and a speed 2, basically. Because isn't it like 2 speed 1s, a speed 3, essentially?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it combos very well if the enemy uses burst of speed.
Exactly. So there's, I feel like the RPS like armor is a problem in this new one, especially if people play armor last as their activations, because you're not getting as many poke shots off in the beginning of the game as you used to be. But with what's it called? But the RPS just, I feel like those Magnas, like you're paying 40 points for one model to be shooting range 3 and 4, while your best spot is to be in range 2 with all your Magna Guard shooting. But at that point, you're not maximizing their health and you're not maximizing their melee pool. So you might as well just be taking the regular extra soldier or the whip. That's how I've been playing them, at least. I think definitely those are the rocket needs to come down in points before we'll see it play more.
Yeah, for sure. I think that too. Yeah. Totally agree.
Yeah. But BX Vibros with the poison bomb, those are definitely the way to be playing BXs right now, though. Those, because the sniper is just way too expensive, especially with the shields too.
Yeah. And it's a shame because I think the sniper really has a place in
for
2.6, but not for this price point.
No, like you could take it in a strike team. I think it's good, but you're not paying for the shields then. You know what I mean? You have to really just keep it 60 points, and that's still pretty expensive if you compare it to like the other sniper teams. I'm pretty sure they're all like dirt cheap, aren't they? I know ARC Troopers bar are like 63 now, but
yeah, and I'd much rather have an ARC Trooper because ARC Trooper has like some reliability behind it.
Exactly.
Offensive capabilities, because if you take a strike team with the new rules, you need to take the full squad also, and then you're stuck with this full squad. And sure, you can take the saboteur bomb, but you know, I think they're great and they're really fun to use. But
And they melt heroes. That was something because our local that I brought them to. I think you saw my Maul Asajj list that I sent in. Those BXs, they performed pretty well. They melted heroes like Dinjarin. Who else did they melt? A bunch. Gar Saxon, Mandalorian commandos, like those super commandos. Like they melt through them, especially with that poison. But like you were saying before, the unreliability of those white dice that really can hurt you. I mean, having something that's reliable that you can trust. It's like, okay, I am getting 5 wounds, or not 5 wounds, but 5 hits here. That is more valuable than something that maybe I got 10 hits, but also maybe I got 2.
Yeah, that's for sure. Yeah, and you still cannot melt anything of any hero, because if you're up against like Yoda, those BX Fibros are not gonna get through those dodges.
No, they will not. Not those dodges. Nope.
No.
And then you're just fueling him with aims for the rest of his army to take.
Yeah.
If he played his 3 pips, so. Yeah. No, for sure.
So, yeah. Well, Magnus top threat probably still in a new meta, if the meta shifts or something. I still think they're going to be great. I also don't think they're going to get nerfed, like on a base unit. They get a new card in April, of course.
Magna Guards, you think we'll get a new one in April?
I believe they said that all units that didn't get a new unit card will get one in April. That's my understanding of it, at least. Maybe I read it or heard it.
No, I remember you saying that, but I don't think they said not necessarily they're going to be changing. They'll probably just update the art to be more in line with all the others. I don't think Magnas are really going to change. I think the only thing we'll see is a change is maybe that the rocket coming down in points to come more in line with everybody else, you know?
Yeah.
Just because he's not probably going to see as much play. But especially with Grievous Entourage, Magnas are here to stay for a while.
Yeah. I bought my 4th box. I still need to assemble them, and I'm definitely going to play it soon.
Oh, yeah. I still only got 1 box, but man, those guys put in the work, man. I need to get more.
Yeah. They're great, and they're fun to paint. So.
Oh, yeah, no. You can do so much. You can make all the electro staffs and all that different colors and things. Like, they're fun units to play with, too.
Yep.
Yeah.
Definitely. Great all around. So we knocked off Magnus. Another unit I wanted to talk about and especially get your input on is Maul, because I believe I've played him 2 times in 2.6, and both games I played him in, it performed really well. I don't think it's because of luck that good dice rolls. I really thought he had he gave me a tactical edge. And I really believe he's like around the corner of being really good again. I mean, it's a great unit. It always has been a great unit. What do you think about Maul?
I think Maul definitely... I think he's getting overshadowed right now, especially because Dooku got a big buff. He has Direct Trooper now. Dooku is like Dooku got a major buff. You know what I mean? And then Grievous also, he's more playable now too with he's cheaper. He has block. He has He has a gear slot now instead of the arsenal. Like
you can put targeting scopes on him even.
Yeah, you could take targeting scopes, recon intel. You could even give him prepared supplies to activate block as easier. I think.
Yeah, I really like that one. Prepared supplies is great.
Yeah, that my friend uses that one all the time. I definitely think Maul is more just like he's being overshadowed by the rest of them right now. And I think even Asajj, she's getting more play than Maul right now just because Dooku's good. You know what I mean? So the Dooku Asajj combo is pretty strong still too. But I definitely think Maul is just being overshadowed by that. I brought Maul
I don't
to
totally
that
agree with that.
You really?
I don't. No, I never. People said Dooku Asajj, especially with with the extra pip you have, that it's a good combo. But I never really felt they had the same tempo because Asajj is this hyper aggressive. Like if you're out of position, and you will be because you have, prepared positions or infiltrate or something. I'm gonna get your ass. I'm gonna pop burst of speed or whatever you
Yeah,
got.
jump right
Just
in there.
go in there and murder that arc squad, murder that character, murder
Mm-hmm.
that out of position solo objective holder with your peers and your
Mm-hmm.
what was her ability again? The marksman with dodges.
Oh, the is it Jarkai Mastery? I think it is.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, Jarkai. Um, and Dooku has this like slower approach of low mobility and melee combat tricks that start.
Mm-hmm.
Well, yeah, they could happen early, but he doesn't have the mobility to be in combat in round one. Most likely not in round two either. So I always feel that the timings when you want to use them are not synchronized,
I could
and
see
for me,
that.
it never translated into a good combo. I mean, maybe that's my personal playstyle, but I always really loved Dooku with like
Mm-hmm.
Magnus because they can protect him and he can really use his shenanigans, especially alongside whips, to really keep something in place on one spot. While Ventress is really good with Maul double
Mm-hmm.
operative save. It's great.
I could see that. I definitely can see that concern. But yeah, no, definitely. I definitely feel that the tempo, especially with Dooku, I think you put it really well last time. Somebody was asking about Dooku in the chat. Dooku is the scalpel, while Grievous is the sledgehammer. Or you
Yeah,
know what I mean? Because like Dooku, you really need the timing to be like perfect almost.
yeah. You need to play him smart.
Yeah,
He doesn't have raw stats to do it, although he did get a little bit more raw stats.
yeah. He does have Surge to block now,
Lightning
which
is,
is nice.
yeah, and the lightning got one extra dice.
Mm-hmm.
It used to have 5, and now it has 6, right?
Yeah, yeah, you're right.
And yeah, and that helps immensely. For sure.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, it.
No, for
That's my
sure.
opinion.
No,
Again,
I can
I love to be
definitely
proven wrong.
see that, but like I think usually, like you were saying, turn two or turn one is like that Asajj dive, getting in there, taking something out who maybe was punishing somebody for playing too forward, while Dooku is still approaching turn. Usually, I believe it was turn two. I was playing because I brought Dooku to Crucible.
Hmm.
And my Dooku, usually turn two, I'm playing read the Relentless card. The card that gives him Relentless, his one pip. And then I would pop
Yeah.
Burst of Speed on him on that part. Get him into point position, hit two people. So then turn three, you could really probably try to play that Dooku Asajj card because both of them should be in position at this time. Granted,
Hmm.
Asajj isn't dead because she's like a glass cannon. But with the two of them both being in position, then you could play the Dooku card. So that way your opponent's going to go first, most likely, because they're going to play their other one pip. But now
Hmm.
you've just saved your one pip for an even more crucial moment, most likely. So then
Yeah, turn
Dooku can
4.
then Dooku goes second, and then immediately after you use Asajj. So I think the combo is still there. I think it just comes down to, like you were saying, a well timed attack and knowing when to play that card, which I think most
Yeah.
people don't know how to play that card properly, at least.
Honestly, I probably am along those people who don't know how to play the cards. Maybe then I would have more success with it.
Maybe. I mean, I haven't played that combo yet either, so I talking just speculation right now, but I'll have to try it out, see how it goes. But
No,
but
it
back
does sound
to
solid
Maul.
how you explained it.
Yeah, but back to Maul though. I think getting that extra one pip card really throws people off because that is something really really good, especially in 2.6. Knowing because you're gonna have two command cards, I believe, that you're not playing if you play standing orders turn one. I think that ends up how it ends up
Um,
going, right?
yeah, you have 5 rounds, 6 command cards, plus
Yeah.
standing
We
orders.
have
So
7 command
7.
cards with standing orders. So
Yeah.
if you play standing orders turn 1, then I believe you have 2 command cards left for turn 5 to choose from.
Yeah.
So having that extra 1 pip is just like someone's like, okay, he spent his 1 pip, then he spent his second 1 pip, and now okay, I could afford to play my 2 pip here, or I can afford to play my 3 pip here to try to go first. You know what I mean? But then boom, you throw that one last 1 pip out there, and it just totally offsets the momentum for them that they thought they had.
Yeah. You have 5 rounds.
Mm-hmm.
Technically, you can take 3 1 pips. That's more than half
Exactly.
of the game.
More than half the game you're going first,
Yeah.
potentially, if you can get the roll offs. But
Yeah.
yeah, I don't know. I think you saw my Maul, how I was running him, but I was doing burst of speed, force choke, offensive push, and what was my last
Hmm.
training slot? Um, I forgot what my last training slot was. It was
Into the Fray, Tenacity, or the
tenacity.
one that gives order? Okay,
Tenacity,
Tenacity.
yeah. Uh,
So that I find that interesting because I always take Into the Fray with him.
mm-hmm.
I find if you do Asajj and Maul aggressively, and you have Into the
Mm-hmm.
Fray, because they have that high mobility, you can really position them on a spot that they can get a lot of the searches and get
Yeah.
insane value out of it. Um, Although I guess that if you take, how you say it, offensive push, you do have a
Yeah.
tiny bit more killing power on the initial strike, of course.
Yeah. So like my reasoning behind that was realistically I was like, okay, turn 2 is when he's really gonna get into combat if I don't want
Hmm.
him to just you know I mean really think about getting into that engagement. He has jump,
Hmm.
so I could do a burst of speed, jump over the building, and if I play my cards right, I could in theory play the one that allows you to suffer the wound
Hmm.
to
At
pop
last, is
tenacity
the
for me as
yeah,
well. And then I believe at last also gives you an aim on your
yeah,
turn.
it does. And Jedi Hunter.
Yeah, so you get aim and Jedi Hunter. So then you dive Maul into whoever your target is. You pop offensive push as well. Now you got 2 aims to spend going into it. You could re-roll 4 dice. Plus you
And
have tenacity dice. So you're rolling 5 red, 4 white, with 2 of those or 4 of those dice are getting re-rolled. So your
yeah,
initial alpha strike on Maul is devastating usually with Pierce 2. And then on top of that, okay, you have like 1 or 2 guys left over. Well, now I'm just gonna force choke him with that, right? Finish him off. So there's definitely some play there. I think it played pretty well, and it made most people were into who play against them all kind of knew the general, and by throwing in this shakeup, basically, it kind of like threw some people through. It was like, oh, don't you have Into the Fray? I'm like, no, or things like that. But then the extra wound, and then taking the recover action to then get my force choke back, and just use it. I use that to just mulch through the Mandalorian super commandos in my second game in my last tournament. Like, I think Maul killed two and a half. He killed 2.5 super commando squads all on his own. Like,
that's a lot.
yeah, he dove the first one, killed them instantly, pretty much. The second one dove into another one, and then force choked somebody in another squad to help Asajj out, and then it was just like he just mulched through all of those guys. And
Yeah,
he actually was the reason I won that game. I'm not gonna lie. But
and I also think it's interesting that a huge weakness of Ventress and Maul used to be getting guided if you didn't take Saber Throw.
mm-hmm.
But with arcs now having charge, they're more likely to play aggressive
Mm-hmm.
against you, and so you're less likely to get guided by one of the units
Yeah,
that countered Maul the hardest.
for sure. And the
In
other,
that,
especially with 2.6 as a whole, like everyone is trying to get onto POIs, you know,
mm-hmm,
and knowing where your enemy is going to be, you can position Maul to be in a good spot to get that alpha strike in, or to get your actual to get the initial attack off. And now you don't I feel like Into the Fray has more play, but also
mm-hmm,
you don't need it as much if you have a fine scalpel. You know what I mean? Like play him really finely where it's just like, okay, I'm going to activate and attack this guy who's already activated. then just jump over, hit the next guy who will activate, on the next turn. You could pick and choose who you're going up against and try to mitigate your damage, as compared to before, where it's like, okay, points are so spread out, troops are so spread out, but yet not at the same time. But I feel like there's definitely, like you can get caught out a lot easier in the old edition as compared to this new edition. People are trying to get onto the center objective, and if you play your cards right, they're going to be there. Your next target is going to be waiting for you.
That's well. I can see it work. I need to try that.
Yeah, no, try it. Maul is definitely. I think Maul is definitely in a good spot right now. I could see him maybe getting some updates, but I feel like he's pretty solid right now. Not gonna lie. Maybe giving him Master of the Force would be kind of nice, but I kind of doubt it.
I don't hope they do that. It's not thematic, so I hope they don't do it.
I'm saying I could probably more so see it on what's it called, Shadow Collective Maul, not CIS Maul.
Yeah,
I could maybe see it on that one, but I don't. I think Maul is pretty solid. I don't think he's gonna need a change anytime soon, either. He's very playable as compared to before, I find.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I totally agree. So do you have an underrated unit you want to touch on?
I think I do. I haven't really seen many people play it, and I knew it had a lot of power before, the Ion Spiders with the Kalani Ion Spiders, when those were really popular. But I feel like now they're maybe getting a little overshadowed by how price efficient Droidekas are, and just in the snail tank and all that stuff. But I've been bringing spiders in a couple of my lists lately, and they either never die or they die immediately. But but usually the ones that die immediately, it's because the opponent focused them down, and they usually take a massive beating. Like,
do you play defensive protocol?
Yeah, I usually bring defensive protocol on them, no matter what.
Okay.
I feel like the defensive protocol is just. I think defensive protocol is the best protocol out of all of them. It's especially for most of the vehicles. It's just good.
It's very efficient. I mean, back when the Saber tank was really good vehicles with outmaneuver are great. That's just how it is. Especially with nimble, it's even more.
Oh yeah,
it's just a very efficient combo.
And especially with many stormtroopers, like for example, one of my friends, he plays Empire, and I had a flamethrower spider droid with defensive protocols. And that thing just capped an objective all on its own because his two stormtroopers just could not do any damage, and the ones that were able to get the critical effect, I'm just using the AI. I had the AI dodge, and this is when I think I lost my commander that battle or something, or the spider droid was so far out of position I just couldn't give it an order, and it was just it had the AI dodge. I activated it early so that way it would get the dodge token, and then. And then it just kept nimbling the dodge token, and he just could not do any wounds to it, and the thing just kept mowing down his troops. So like I feel like the defensive protocol is just so good, but I think any of the spider droids are actually really good right now though, because flamethrowers, where your opponent's gonna go. They have to go for the POI. So if you play your spider droid right, you can get right onto that objective, and you're just going to sit there. You don't even have to give it orders because it's going to AI dodge and then flamethrower. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then, AI dodge, flamethrower, and then Ion Spiders. I feel like they still want attack protocols for the most part, just because they have 3 white dice, 3 black dice. It's for the most not as reliable as some of the other dice. So I feel like using them almost as like artillery pieces, or the equivalent of like the E-Web or FD cannon, almost getting them into a position early turn 1 or even turn 2. Turn 1 you could easily just walk onto the board and start shooting, or if you really want to just get them into position, then turn 2 just start raining down fire. But I definitely think the customizability for spider droids is still there, and I think they're definitely better now too, especially the Armor 3. Like, you can do so much with them.
Yeah,
which is why I've been liking.
I think for the Ions, they're really expensive now, but they don't cycle anymore, and that was such a huge drawback.
Oh yeah,
you didn't have any flexibility with them at all. If you if you put them down like an artillery piece, and things would move out of range, it was over. And the board is also shorter now, so range 4 is actually more range than it was before. And they have more flexibility. So yeah, but I don't think it's the time to shine for Ions yet.
I don't think so either. I don't think...
If you take one, Flamer is just more efficient at the moment.
I agree.
Yeah, but the laser cannon, you think that's good? You said all options were good. I don't think the laser cannon is that good.
I think it's for a list. So for a good example was the one I brought, Maul and Asajj. I found that list really needed some sort of anchor to kind of like hold over objectives, especially friendly objectives, or usually those spider droids can just hold an objective all on their own generally, just from the sheer amount of punishment it can take. So what I would do is I would run the laser. I ran 2 with the laser cannons and defensive protocols, and that was it. And I was just like, okay,
like
they're either
shoot, but it's still cheap.
Yeah, it shoots. It's still pretty cheap. Like, I think it ends up being like what, 73 points or something like that now with the points update. I think it's
73.
Yeah,
73 a pop.
Yeah, 73 points a piece. That's still pretty darn cheap for an Armor 3 unit with outmaneuver, nimble, and can shoot range 1 to 3. And it's shooting a pretty nice dice pool with critical 1, red, 3 black, and a white. So you're reliably getting about 2 hits. I think it's either 2 or 2.5 hits reliably. So if you position them, how I used them was I was positioning them on my destroy enemy base bunker, or I was positioning them on like a breakthrough. It was a good one. I'd put them on my friendly objective and just have the 2 of them sit there. And they're pretty big bases, so I was using them to block the objective from viable places for my opponent to land, and then also just being a sheer damage sponge on those 2 objectives to buy my other opponents, my other units time to get onto my enemy's objective. So I feel like it's more price efficient than the Ion Spider Droid. So I think it does have a place still.
Yeah, that's an interesting take on it. I always love your input. You always have these insightful things to say. Yeah, that's I can see it, especially with the big base, and the enemy cannot lock it down in melee because it has the kick.
Exactly.
So you can always do something.
Exactly, and it has the wicked kick, like you were just saying. So it's like you can kick somebody who gets behind you. Otherwise, you can just sit there on the objective, and you're just shooting at your opponent as they're coming to you. You can just sit there, aim and shoot, or dodge and shoot, whatever you need to do, and you're just holding an objective to buy yourself some time. And I feel like that's kind of goes with the lore too a little bit. I felt like a lot of the spider droids were used as kind of like anti-air and just kind of like, all right, we're just gonna hunker down there, my mobile turret here, you know. So using them like that, I feel like is pretty effective.
The German squad with MG42, right?
Exactly.
But the Star Wars version.
Exactly. So yeah, I think they still have a place, and I definitely think people are sleeping on them a little bit, but I do agree with you. I think the meta as of right now doesn't allow them to shine as much as they probably can once there's a few new things that get released. So I definitely am curious to see how, if we get a new commander, how effective they'll make the spider droids. That's something I'm looking forward to.
Yeah, same. We need more commanders. So
we do.
Tactical droids is basically one thing. So
it's literally one commander, but 3 different options, really 2 options.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I agree.
Another
I also
unit.
had some thoughts about the AAT, but Paulie pretty much said everything that needs to be said in it on the last
Yeah,
episode.
I
So
felt
I'm
like
not going to
he
touch that.
pretty covered that pretty well too. I definitely think the
Yeah.
AAT is just with the new cover changes. The AAT just that thing can lay down some fire. It is definitely a beast. I love that thing. My paint job on it too. I love bringing it onto the table.
Oh, you
Absolutely.
need to share that in the Discord.
Yeah,
I would love to see
I'll definitely share that in the Discord for sure.
it.
But I think a unit that we haven't really talked about that I think definitely needs to be shed some light on is the B2s. Those
Yeah, they're not
guys,
underrated, but
they are not underrated, but they definitely need to be said that they are they are a hammer and they hit hard.
they
they
sure do.
they will hold an objective for you. Yeah.
I can only say good things about them. I've used them in almost every game since 2.6, and they
Yeah.
never let me down. Sure, sometimes they roll bad. I mean, each unit
Yeah.
can roll bad, but they have them blasting black in melee is such a game changer for them, because
Yeah.
back in the day they weren't only fragile, but they also could be locked down in melee so
Yeah.
easily by enemies, and then they would just drop dead
Oh yeah.
where they stood, and now you're not gonna get them in melee because then you're gonna shoot back.
Yeah,
You're gonna feel it.
they still throw double black in melee. So
It's so good.
I was so happy to see the change because like I felt like Clone Wars just didn't do them justice, the B2s. Then I played
Hmm.
Republic Commando, and oh my gosh, those B2s are scary. So I was definitely glad to see that though they kind of went more in line with the lore on the B2s, how scary those things are,
Yeah,
and I think they nailed it pretty well. But
yeah. I'm also glad the ACM sees the light of day. It
oh
has
yeah,
always been a favorite upgrade on the B2s, especially with original Battlefront 2, where you had it as your blaster and it just insta kills anything that was close.
yeah, yeah,
That always felt like such a good moment, and now we can do that too on the tabletop. So
yeah. No, for
I don't
sure.
hope the ECM is gonna get bumped up. I hope it
Yeah,
stays
I
like
was kind
this.
of sad to see the Ha kind of lose its power because I love the Ha model.
Yeah,
Just the kneeling pose with the big cannon just looks so cool. But
yeah.
I think it definitely the ACM needed its time in the sun.
But I
But
do think the Ha can get its time back, because and that's not people said Blast is less important in 2.6, but I find that Blast really brings the reliability you need sometimes.
yeah,
Those cover saves, sometimes they save nothing, sometimes they save everything. Like
yeah,
I had games where I had like the big dice pool of the B2s, like I had 10 hits, I hit all my white dice, I was like yes, and then my opponent, I shot some snow troopers or something, and then the snow troopers saved 9 of my 10 hits before their armor
oh my
saved.
god,
And I was like, with light cover,
oh my gosh,
and I was like, oh, but, that's not fun. And if you have blast, those moments are not there. I mean, sure, you can still
yeah.
roll your armor save, but then it feels different.
That is very
It's,
true. And I 100% agree that I think blast is still an important keyword, but I think it's being a little overpriced right now. And I think it needs to come down a little bit. If I were to
how much?
say
Still strong.
it's still pretty strong, I would say maybe just like 4 points, maybe.
I mean, bunker busters are, for example, on tanks are 12 at the moment, and
Yeah.
I think they would be fine for 10. I would take them for 10. I would take them for 12, but I'd rather
Yeah.
have them be at 10. I think 4 is a bit
Yeah.
much, and maybe
Well, I mean,
for the
particularly in the
yeah.
just because of how everything is so close range now. You know what I
Hmm.
mean? Everything wants to be in range 1 to 2 on those POIs, and the Ha almost incentivize you not to. You're not going to get as much value from it. I find with 2.6 just because you want to be on the POI, and your opponent is also going to be on the POI, which means you're going to be in range 1 most of the cases, which means you can't use the HA, you know? So I feel like getting maybe a 4-point, because I think it's 8 points higher, more expensive than the ACM right now.
No, it's more. The rocket launcher is 32, and the ACM is 24.
Yeah,
so it's 8 more points.
It's 8 more points. So dropping it 4 points will just make it so it's like, or maybe even 2 points, will just make it so it's more of a which one do I want kind of thing. You know what I mean?
Yeah, definitely.
So, but B2s, I think of all of my good lists so far have at least taken 1 or 2 of them. Like, they're a solid unit. So
I made a list that didn't have them. 8 sabers.
Oh, 8. Yeah, but then you're using Grievous and Dooku and Maul and Asajj.
No, I didn't choose Dooku.
Oh, you didn't use Dooku?
Asajj, yeah, 8 sabers. Otherwise, it would be 9.
Oh, you're right. It would be 9. Yeah.
I didn't want to crowd the command spot that much,
Mm.
and in my mind, maybe I was wrong about it, but in my mind, Dooku wouldn't add that much. I was like, I want 3 units with big dice pools and the capability to move forward quickly, and then add some points left to throw in a Magna or something.
I gotcha. I think that, I mean, yeah,
I don't think it's a bad list, by the way.
No, I think it actually is kind of strong, actually. I mean,
not 6-0 strong, but, you know.
Yeah.
3-0 strong?
You're definitely going to go pretty, you're still going to go pretty strong, and especially, I feel like it's something that people won't expect to go up against. You know what I mean? Well, probably more so now, but it's not something that you see every day. You know what I mean? As compared to most things you'll see. So, I definitely think there's a shock factor involved to it as well.
Yeah, definitely.
I'm trying to think if there's any other units that are sleeper or like things I think that could still be good. Oh, you were talking Bosk earlier.
Yeah, Bosk.
Yeah, if you want to touch up on him.
Well, he has suppressive. He has spear with, the criticals help, of course, getting damage. But ranged Pierce is so rare in this faction, and Cad Bane is not going to do it for you anymore. I think Cad Bane is quite garbage at the moment.
Yeah, I love Cad Bane. I love his model, but man, has he seen the light?
I mean, he was in the spotlight long enough that I'm not salty about it, but it was my favorite unit to bring. So it is definitely a change of pace.
For sure.
For everybody who played Cad Bane a lot. I mean, he's not terrible, but I don't even think he's overcosted or broken in a bad way. But I don't think the game, or at least this meta, favors him. I mean, he was very consistent in his tankiness, and now he isn't. So it's more of a gamble to bring him.
Yeah, I agree.
And you want to play him aggressive. But Bosk doesn't have the problem. Bosk has, he has scale, so he can get up stuff. He can reach a POI. He has long range, pierce. He has suppressive. He can stand his own, and he can, bounty's still great. And he is very fragile, especially now. But I think if the meta changes in a way that there are less melee threats, or there's some defensive tech, or I don't know what it would be, but just something to take pressure off him, that he wouldn't die so fast. I think he's a prime target to see more play in lists.
I think it might be just we need to switch up the upgrades we have on him. Because I've been looking into emergency stims on things lately, and maybe it might be time to bring emergency stims out.
That's a classic.
Because I know a lot of people have been running targeting scopes a lot right now, or in the past. But maybe bringing back the emergency stims just to give him that longevity, a little bit more longevity. Maybe you can even try to run him a little bit more aggressively now.
He doesn't need, the targeting scopes.
Yeah.
definitely with Hunter and some aims, from Kalani or his 3-pip or
Mm-hmm.
just an aim action, most times you roll something good. I
Yeah.
don't feel he really needs it.
Yeah.
Like it would be still a trade-off, but getting that tankiness, especially with emergency sims, if you roll lucky on your regenerate, then
Mm-hmm.
it's really good.
Exactly. So I think we just need to revisit how we play Bosk, and I think we'll definitely see. I think he still has a good place right now. Definitely better than Cad Bane right now. Oh man, that was a sad day when I played my Cad Bane. I was like, oh, we'll see how good he is with the new rules. I had almost a perfect play. I think I played him almost perfectly, but it was just the scenario was just he just doesn't he can't. I feel like the issue is he doesn't have a good way to generate suppression tokens anymore as he used to, if that makes
Yeah,
sense. Like,
yeah, I know what you mean.
yeah, because like before it was like, okay, I use duck and cover just to get light cover. You know what I mean? And then boom,
Yeah,
now I'm rolling a cover save. But now you have to have 3 suppression tokens just to get light cover. So it's just like I feel like between those and there's just a lot of things I think that
and
just
then
go
light
wrong.
cover and light cover used to have a shave off one wound,
Mm-hmm.
one hit, and then have 2 dodges, shave off 2 another, and
Exactly.
now it's like light cover might not even do anything. Heavy
Exactly.
cover might not do anything. So,
Yep. So it's just
yep,
like it's
but
like because I was looking into I think you and I talked about it at one point was maybe getting rid of duck and cover for up close and personal and going more dodge spam. Try that
yeah,
out. Didn't really work too well either. he just
I think it's better, but
it
that
definitely plays
isn't the
better.
way why he. Yeah, I mean that wasn't the reason he was good. The reason was
Yeah.
dog and cover.
Yeah, exactly. So I definitely think maybe there'll be a change to how units with danger sense works with suppression cover or something like
Hmm.
that maybe in the future. Maybe if there's a
Yeah.
keyword change where maybe it's just like units with danger sense get light cover if they have at least 1 suppression or something like that. Kind of
Hmm.
returning to the old rules just for danger sense only. Maybe Cabane might have a place again, but I think right now he's still gonna struggle,
Yeah.
especially with the new
Definitely.
one. Which I think, yeah, no, I definitely think Boss, because you were telling me about maybe throwing even a mine down onto a POI, and just holding it with the range 4. Just he's much more versatile in this new one, I think, in the new
Yeah.
edition than even previously. So
Yeah.
definitely some
I
cool
mean,
things there.
yeah. I think 100 points or a little bit over 100 points for a unit that can basically hold a POI in the back.
Mm-hmm.
That's great. Like on his power level,
Yeah, and
because he
it's like
would
you don't have to
destroy
worry
any
too much.
stormtrooper that lies around.
Yeah, you don't even have to worry too much about some sort of enemy getting onto your back objective at that point. It's just okay, that guy's gonna handle it for the most
Yeah.
part, unless somebody focuses him down. But
Yeah. But then they're sending more resources, you
mm-hmm,
know,
exactly.
so you can
So
respond accordingly.
I definitely need to try out Bosk in this new edition. I haven't played him too much with the new game, but I definitely want to give him a shot. He's one of the people I've been looking into playing again.
I didn't play him that much either, just a tiny bit. But from what I've played and from what I heard from other people, I know it's good.
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes you just not.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
for sure. I'm trying to think what other things we can what other units maybe need to see some Geonosian Warriors. I remember you were telling me you wanted to talk about them at one point. Um, I love the Geos. I think they do wonders, and I think they're. I think they definitely they're worth their point value. I don't think
Just
the scatter gun is
45.
worth it, but I think the spear running Geos with the spear for what is that? That ends up being 60 points. A 60 point unit does pretty well. I think.
60 points, can triple move.
Mm-hmm. And then you can dish out so much suppression with them, especially if you bring Sunfac. Oh boy. My Crucible list, I went up against. I think I panicked 3 Wookiees at Crucible. I was playing against Wookiee defenders, and I had 2 Geonosian Warriors and Sunfac, and I positioned them. I played them last on turn 1, or it was turn 2. It was turn 2 that happened. Turn 2, played them last on turn 2. Gave 2 suppression because I overrun the Wookiee, which automatically gives you suppression even if you miss your attack. And then I ranged a shot them for another one, and those dice pools, they hurt. So now you're throwing 2. If as long as you roll land 1 hit, which you're bound to roll with all those dice, that's 2 suppression tokens you just put on a person. Then you activate. Then you play the Sunfac 1 pip, and you get a free jump on 2 Geonosian Warriors at range 1 to 2 of Sunfac. Both of those Geonosian Warriors will now overrun again, and you can either dive them into melee for protection or keep them out and try to activate one of them first, or hide them behind a building or something. But either way, you just gave another suppression. Then you activate them again, 2 more suppression because you can range attack them plus overrun them, or their melee weapon also has suppressive. So there's a lot of different plays you could do, especially with the spears. And then and then Sunfac again has suppressive as well. So there's just so many. I feel like the Geonosian Warriors are definitely something people should be looking into right now on CIS.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So like in the suppression list, AAT
for sure.
Droidicas.
Yep.
It was you who.
That was my list.
the quad B2, the B2s with the quad guns, so you can dish out 4 suppression with B2 squad, right?
Yep. Yeah, no, well, so running the T series, because it has sidearm ranged, that gives you a new weapon. Then you have the ACM, plus the B2s now got wrist rockets. So if you're in range 1, you can use the B2 main cannons, plus the wrist rocket, plus the T series, plus the ACM, and shoot 4 different targets. Now, all 4 of those different targets can shoot... They can each give a suppression token. So that plus Geos plus Droidicas plus the Lochter AAT, that was my list at Crucible, and the amount of suppression on that table, I felt bad for my opponents. I gave Austin Miller a run for his money for a while. I was holding out pretty well up until all at once. It all just kind of all fell apart at once. I think I played a little too aggressively. I played those B2s up too fast. I think I should have pulled them back, but either way, I was able to give out things. Yeah, there was just and there was just so much suppression on that table that even his Courage 2 clones were still struggling to get their double actions and stuff. So definitely,
it's definitely a creative list ID.
Oh yeah. And then you had Dooku as the leader too. So Dooku, especially with his 1 pip, you're giving. I think you and I were talking about it. I think it ended up being 6 or 7 suppression tokens.
Yeah,
on his 1 pip.
It's 7, but most times it would be 6.
Yeah. So definitely some fun things. But the Geos, I feel like, are, unless you're running Poggle, which I don't think is really good right now. I think
it's not.
Yeah, he's not. But I think definitely Geos are more like that special force kind of role almost, where you use them in creative ways, because of how fast they are. You could get them from one flank who maybe is overwhelming your opponent, and then quickly flood over to the other side to help secure that objective or something like that. And they're just such a good flexible piece that you can do a lot of different things with. So definitely will be curious to see how crab droids are going to affect those, because you'll be able to do 4 moves on their turn 1. Oh, they'll be fun.
Yeah, I do think crab droids are best used with a stronger unit that
Oh, me
has
too.
a bit lower mobility than a cheap unit like a Geo. But it's even more catapult value.
Exactly. But just to show that like we're getting such mobility, there's so much cool toys that are gonna be coming out. Um, is there any other units you wanted to cover though, that maybe we might be sleeping on or anything like that?
No, I think that's about it. I mean,
Yeah.
like
Is there
we
any
can talk about.
is there
Okay.
any units that we really need to talk about, like that are really good right now? I feel
Um,
like for the
I
most
think
part,
most things we've discussed already, right?
yeah. Or in other videos, people have discussed in plethora.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Well, maybe we could just talk about maybe some crab droids a little bit, and then yeah, we're on a. I think our time we're doing pretty decent. We're almost at an hour, so
Yeah.
probably talk
Yeah,
about
we
crab
can touch
droids
on
and
crab a bit.
yeah, talk about crab
Um,
droids and then maybe speculate aquas for a little bit. Then we can call it there.
yeah. Well, for crab droids, um, I think, and I don't think a lot of people will disagree with that assessment, is they're going to make a huge splash.
Oh yeah.
Um, them, them scouting and having another unit to scout up with them. Great. It is a unit with Pierce
Mm-hmm.
on his melee profile. I mean, Pierce is always great, especially
Oh
with
yeah.
5 guys with surge to hit. I mean, that's great. Not rolling for cover anyway, melee.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I mean, red saves, armor 2. I don't think they're going to be that tanky. I mean,
I agree. I don't think they're going to be as tanky as people think they're going to be. I
they're going
think
to be hard hitting.
they will be really hard hitting though.
Yeah,
So.
and I assume from what I've seen, their base is big enough that they have the speed, just like the
Mm-hmm.
spiders.
ATRTs as
Uh,
well.
yeah, so
Mm-hmm.
they will have that speed with them too. And I think, yeah, I mean, I don't even think it's going to be that a subtle unit or like secret strategies. You're just gonna plop a B2 behind them, you know,
Mm-hmm.
pop a Magna Guard with a whip next to them,
Yep.
give them some cover. Um,
And they'll be line of sight
the
blockers.
Magnus will get cover. Yeah, I mean, they're still vehicle, and you just move them up as a big melee storm
Mm-hmm.
with all
Oh, for
kinds of
sure.
hurt.
They're gonna.
And if the
Yeah.
target dies, they have great ranged options. Like
Oh yeah.
even if you don't have that much impact, you just give the what is it, 6 black impact 3 or something.
I think it's 5 black impact 3. Is it?
Oh yeah, 5 black impact 3. Yeah,
I think it's 5 black impact
yeah,
3. And then
yeah.
even their twin gun, I was looking at their normal blaster. That one was isn't it double red and double black?
Yep.
That one, I think,
Also
honestly,
great.
I have been looking more into that on personally than the impact weapons. As much as I feel like these
Impact is meta
units.
situational thing, right?
Yeah, that's what I think so too. I think if you're seeing a lot of impact in your local meta, then you're probably going to take the impact one. But personally, I think using the almost like a combination of like maybe doing an ion spider droid with 2 crab droids, running them with defensive protocol and the twin laser guns, and just
Mm-hmm.
marching up on the field, you have your anti armor already taken care of with the spider droid. Now your 2 crab droids, they're just going to focus on killing whatever's in front of whatever gets onto their POI. That and they're just escorting some B2s. So I
Yeah.
think there's going to be some fun play with especially scout is. This is going to be our only method of getting scout on units in CIS, other than Geonosian warriors with the free jump action. So like
Yeah.
you, yeah, using this to get scout is going to be game changer. Even just like everyone says, oh, scouting party without scout 2 isn't going to be nearly as good as scout 1, but I mean it's still scout at the end of the day, and scout is prime
It's
right
good
now.
right now. Yeah.
Prime. So we'll definitely have to see, and I think that Pierce melee weapon plus not being able to lock units down into melee for safety, that's going to make ARC troopers a lot easier to deal with our other units.
Yeah.
So,
and also things that move up the field, like rebel sleeper agents, or forgot their name.
Yeah, the sleeper cell.
Yeah, I've seen lists with Gav tank that catapult riot squads on the field.
That sounds horrifying.
I played against it one time, even, and I don't think it's like top tier meta list or whatever,
Yeah.
but it did quite a lot of damage. I think those riot troopers are very cheap.
Really,
And
you think they're cheap? Too cheap?
No, just like a cheap unit.
Oh, a cheap unit that does a
you
lot.
shouldn't. Yeah, I mean, it doesn't do a lot, but for its price, it does a lot. And if you ignore them or disrespect what they could do, then you will pay for it.
That's fair.
It's not. Yeah, it's not like a B1 you can just ignore.
Yeah. It's not gonna. It might not do that much unless you roll like an absolute god with all the. But yeah, no, for sure.
And against other CIS lists, it's also good because crap droid will munch down on Magnas. With the Pierce.
Oh yeah, B2s too. Any of those red save units is just gonna munch them to pieces. Yep. No, those crabs are gonna be. I feel like they're definitely gonna add just so much for us, especially. I think you'll even be able to, because scouting party is only troopers, correct?
Yeah.
So you could even throw that on to General Grievous. You could throw that on Dooku, make him faster. Maul and Asajj as well. Be able to catapult them from even more forward. Even though Maul has infiltrate, but what's it called? Using all those different random things will be very interesting.
Yeah, it adds more flexibility to the list building. This faction. Yeah.
Oh, for sure.
CS is in a great spot at the game.
Oh, I agree. I think it's not. I think what's nice about it too is it's not like we're in a spot that's we have something good because it's undercosted. I think everything is, for the most part, pretty fairly costed, especially after the points update with the PK droid getting increased. Like, as much as I hate to have been like, man, that he got like 100% increase in points, but at the end of the day, he was able to heal literally for 12 points. He could heal your entire army. So him being 22 points, it was a change that was coming, and I was like, okay. But yeah, no, CIS I think is just in a great place and just feels nice, but not overpowered nice. That like the ARC troopers were feeling before. Just
I wouldn't want to have our faction being overpowered. I mean, when EXD droids were winning everything just before 2.6, I didn't like that either. I mean,
exactly.
Every droid player would play the same. Very boring. I don't like that. I want a balanced faction.
Exactly, and I feel like right now CIS has that, which is really nice. I will say I think Aquas might change that up a little bit. Or not Aquas, Crabs might change that up a little bit with everyone trying to take scouting party. Try to load those up, but even...
I really wonder what Aquas are going to do.
That's what I'm curious too. I have some speculations, but...
Yeah, in the lore they're not particularly tanky. My guess would be they're as tanky as in B2.
That's what my guess was too.
Actually, I just read this on the Wikipedia. I don't know this from the top of my head, but I see here there were a variation on the B2 even. So I would assume they have like similar armor, if the lore correct, and they have laser cannons. So maybe like a dice pool with red-black for each unit, or something like similar to ARC troopers, I assume. But I really wonder what their unique thing would be. Like maybe their unique thing would be cheapest heavy unit in the game or something.
I think it might be like a worse version of Dark Troopers, and I hate to say that, but I think, like you were saying, I think it's gonna be the cheapest heavy unit in the game. I think
But
they're going to
maybe a little
get...
bit more mobility because they have larger bases.
Yeah. I think they're going to have infiltrate. I think... Personally, I was thinking they're going to be like a hybrid between what the B2s used to be and Wookiees a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe be like a 3 health a model. Maybe have like armor 1 or armor 2, but be white saves with surge to block. So, or I guess if they have armor 2, maybe they would just have regular just block on white saves. But that would make it a 12 point or a 12 health unit. They're still going to be probably dirt cheap. I mean, they'll probably be pretty cheap to add to the whole CIS spam horde faction identity. And then I think they're going to have the... what's it called? The ability to... what's it called? What is it that the Dark Troopers have that allows them to activate twice?
Oh, I don't know on top of my head. Let me put it up real quick. That's the... One second. Unconcerned is they don't get cover. Plodding.
Yeah.
One sec. Need to open it. Keywords. Yeah, that's the unstoppable keyword, right?
Yeah, unstoppable. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think unstoppable. I think they'll probably have that because they even say that in the flavor text.
Oh, really? Okay.
A little. I mean, it says they're like, oh, a group of these could be unstoppable, advanced. You know what I mean? So I'm like, okay, I feel like they're probably gonna have unstoppable, and then just from lore reasons, they're probably either gonna have prepared positions, or they're gonna have infiltrate. You know what I mean? Because they're always like
they're probably
surprise
gonna have
attacking.
plodding too, then, right? If they don't have plodding, they're...
Which one's the plotting
fast.
one? Oh, that's the one that makes
you
it
can only move once.
Yes, they'll have that too, for sure.
Yeah.
So, but I like the idea what you were saying with the red-black on their dice pool being something semi-reliable, but yet not overly efficient, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
So,
it might be a little bit weaker, but then they would need to compensate with the heavy, or the other way around, probably. But I do think it's interesting if it's a cheap unit and they put down the BX sniper cost down a little bit, then you can get really high activation lists.
yeah.
And that would be something I would enjoy.
Yeah, me too. No, I'm definitely gonna get at least one box of Aqua Droids as soon as they come out, because I'm definitely looking into... because one, I think I was telling you, I think the double crab droid, Aqua Droid, throwing in an AAT, and then filling out the rest of the army with either probably with some B2s, B1s, and throw it in with a super tack, and I think that might actually be a pretty nasty army.
Yeah, that sounds good.
Yeah, I'm really want to know what these Aqua Droids have. I can't wait till AMG shows us. So
maybe for Christmas.
Maybe for Christmas they'll give it to us. All right. I think
we talked about everything.
I think we have. So I think we'll stop it here.
Yeah.
All right, man. Nice talking to you.
See you later, everybody.
Seeing you in person too. See you around, everybody.
Same.
Hopefully we'll be back. All right.